Welcome. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Welcome to the absolute ruins of your own ambition. Go on, look around you. This is the place where the brilliant, blinding light of your so-called zenith has finally curdled. You know, you really strove for greatness, didn't you? You reached for the absolute summit of human potential, and yet, well, here you are, sitting right in the ashes of your own extinguished fire. For this explainer, I'm not just going to analyze this dark philosophical landscape from the outside. No, I am going to speak to you directly as the text narrator. I speak to you now as the god of Carrion.
You really had this touching, almost naive belief in the infinite progress of the Great Noon, didn't you? You genuinely thought the light of your intellect and your will would just keep expanding, conquering all those shadows forever. But listen closely to the reality of your arrival here. Welcome to my kingdom of dust, where the light of the zenith has finally curdled into the gray peace of the grave. What you thought was the limitless open sky of your potential? Yeah, actually, that was just a gilded cage. You didn't build a new world. You built a perfect, static monument to your own eventual exhaustion. You pursued perfection so relentlessly that you arrived at the absolute stillness of death.
And it's fascinating, because your downfall maps out perfectly using this dark, twisted version of the Fichtean dialectic. It's like a giant puzzle where you are the missing piece. Step 1 is the thesis, the sovereign strives. That's you, the absolute I, desperately trying to impose your vital energy onto the universe. But the universe? It pushes back. Enter step 2, the antithesis, the forces of the non-ego. These are external forces represented by two nasty phantoms known as the cynical wit and the hunger, and they exist literally just to negate your ambition. And finally, we get step 3, the synthesis, the small. This is a force that doesn't just oppose you, it physically devours the shattered remnants of your striving. Let's break down exactly how these architects of ruin dismantle your spirit.
Part 1. The tyranny of the punchline. The cynical wit. Picture him, a king, draped in blood-stained motley, wearing a hollow crown made of the cheap gold of forgotten empires. He shows up right as the light of your great awakening starts to fracture. Right when you hit your absolute peak of noble self-overcoming, the cynical wit is standing there to remind you that your grand, cosmic struggle is actually just a pathetic, hilarious joke, and he takes you down using the mechanism of embarrassment. You know that feeling when you're truly on fire with a new idea? The wit just lingers in the back of your mind, whispering and laughing until you feel this profound shame for even trying. He makes your active striving feel uncool and foolish. It's a psychological poison, and it completely paralyzes your dynamic will. You don't stop because you're proven wrong. You stop because you're just too embarrassed to keep going.
So while the legendary Ubermensch laughs at the abyss as a glorious conquest, the cynical wit flips the script. He laughs the abyss into absolutely everything. He takes your profound hope for the future and trades it in for a permanent punchline. He's offering you cynical stagnation, a way to feel superior by doing literally nothing. He doesn't even want you to agree with him. He just wants the laugh that fundamentally kills the soul. And what's left? You, presiding over nothing but echoes, whispered into an empty grave. You traded your burning future for a comfortable smirk.
Part 2. The Laboratory of Nothingness, the Hunger.
Right beside the wit stands the second phantom, the hunger. Imagine a colossal cosmic mind, its face forever hidden behind a bone-white plague doctor's mask. If the wit thinks your ambition is a joke, the hunger views it as a literal disease. To him, the vital blood of living worlds and the messy struggle of your civilizations are just symptoms of a cosmic rot. Look at the contrast here. On one side, you have the messy pulse of existence. That's your chaotic, painful, beautiful striving. On the other side is the hunger's ideal state, the windowless record. He operates this clinical laboratory of nothingness, diagnosing your friction and your desire as anomalies that absolutely must be neutralized. He breathes in your chaotic vitality and uses clinical stabilization to turn you into perfect data. He cures the pain of living by just stopping your life entirely.
The result of this clinical incision is something the text perfectly calls the smiling corpse. By pursuing this total clinical stabilization, the hunger creates someone who possesses absolute certainty. No doubts, no fears, no messy, unpredictable futures to worry about whatsoever. But here's the catch. You only get this perfect stabilization because you have ceased to truly live. You are now a completed calculation. The shadow of the future can't haunt you anymore, simply because you let your future be surgically removed.
Part 3. The Colossus of Pure Negation, the Small.
Okay, so your thesis has been battered by mockery and clinical stabilization.
But the final synthesis of your ruin is crawling out from the peripheral dark right now. I'm warning you about the Small. This is a grotesque, truth-telling monster. He is the terrifying physical embodiment of the future you just allowed to be murdered. He's not here to mock you, and he's not here to cure you. He is here to consume the leftover scraps of your potential. Understand this. The Small operates on appetite, not doctrine. He couldn't care less about your philosophical beliefs or deconstructing your worldview. He is pure metaphysical hunger. He physically devours your very capacity for future innovation. Every single time you surrender to the wit's cynicism or the hunger's paralysis, the Small feeds on that suppressed potential.
And as he feeds, oh, he swells. With a violent wrench, he tears away the comforting shallows of the complacent last man, and he forcefully absorbs the bright, suppressed potential of the Ubermensch you could have been. He grows massive on your denials. Everything you could have achieved gets ripped away and forcefully absorbed into his misshapen form. Under his terrifying weight, every innocent beginning, every fresh start you try to birth is instantly transformed into a perpetual burial rite for certainties that have already vanished.
He becomes the absolute not I, a towering colossus of pure negation. This absolute synthesis proves a terrifying law. The truth of a murdered future doesn't just go away. It expands. It grows into a monster that will eventually bury the very mind that feared it. You thought you were seeking peace through absolute stabilization, but all you really did was dig a literal grave for your own consciousness. The Small is the earth being violently shoveled over your head.
Part 4. The Dark Apotheosis, the Hollow Freeze.
So here we are. The zenith is finally revealed, not as some glorious summit, but as a miserable terminus. The spirit of gravity wraps its heavy arms around you, inviting your exhausted mind to just collapse into grief, to sit forever in the thick mud of your own vanishing past. Your striving falters, your self-awareness dissolves into dust. This is the hollow freeze. Just look at the tragic exchange you made. You traded the sovereign vital blood of the absolute I, your true world-shaping potential, for the perfect purity of the void. You were so terrified of the friction of existence, so worn down by the wit's mockery and the hunger's coldness, that you betrayed your own sovereignty for the safety of the grave. You traded a breathing universe for a frictionless void where nothing hurts, sure, but absolutely nothing can ever happen.
This is the ultimate fruition of the creed of negation, a dark ascension into silence. Your world is a gilded cage of static perfection now. Your mind, just a museum of dead dogmas, preserving ideas that lost their pulse a long time ago. And you are left as a living statue of parchment. Brittle, dry, completely covered in the writings of the past, and totally incapable of taking a single step into the future.
Look at yourself. Seriously, look at you. You actually believed that meaning could just be inherited, like some cheap crown, keeping a lamp lit in a house you didn't even realize was empty. But now, you are the god of carrion. You preside over a throne of dead memories, and even your own heart has turned to ash in your chest. You are a monument of static regret. Your laws, your grand philosophies, they are just echoes whispered to the dust. And believe me, the dust finds them every bit as amusing as I do.
So I leave you with this final thought as you sit here in the deafening silence of the void you created. Do you feel the weight of this ossuary skin, this heavy, lifeless garment, cut from the bones of your ancestors that you wear just to hide your own lack of blood? Stay here in the dark. The future is far too loud for a monument of static regret such as yourself.